Hey, everybody, you're listening to Bro Church, a podcast for grown men with grown problems.
And questionable solutions.
Dave, can we just stick to the script, dude?
Bro, you wrote a script for Bro Church. This ain't NPR. It's a group with no snacks.
God help us.
And that's why we hit record.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Rise and shine, you beautiful fuckers out there in the world.
Already?
It's your favorite podcast's favorite podcast. That's the Dave. I'm Felix. This is Bro Church, where we gather around a semicircle and talk about our life's issues or our issues in life, however you want to word it.
Yeah.
You may be too drunk to even talk, and that's fine. Some of you may even prefer some of that to be applying to certain people. Too drunk to fucking talk. Fair enough.
That would be nice right now.
What's up, dude?
Not much. Hanging in there. Same old shit.
I got my Papa Bear mug. Oh,
I got my dad mug. My favorite dad mug.
Yeah.
Boom. Check it out. It's awesome.
Saturday
From Cracker
morning.
Barrel.
I do like Cracker Barrel.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like their breakfast only. I'm not a big fan of their dinners.
Dude, I'm stuck between Bob Evans because Cracker Barrel's good, but Bob Evans pancakes, you can't. Oh my God, I love their breakfast.
Their breakfast is good too. Of course, like we used it for Mother's Day recently, just for the breakfast. I love ordering their breakfast home. It's good and easy. But Cracker Barrel that's the first time I ever had butter pecan pancakes. And yeah, right now I'm going into a coma just thinking about it. They're so good. I try to make them at home.
Yeah.
They're nothing like Grandma's butter pecan pancakes.
Made by Scott in the back.
Made by made by Florence.
Made by Florence.
With the suspect hairnet in the back.
Yeah. Oh, great.
Yeah. I like a little Cracker Barrel. My wife isn't a big fan of Cracker Barrel, and I'm not a big fan of their dinners. But for whatever reason, their breakfast is just like, man, coffee, the grandma breakfast, and I'm sitting in the back of my chair, sucking my teeth, like looking for a toothpick. You know what I mean? I'm ready to.
I gotta admit, their coffee is good too.
Yeah. Now Bob Evans is good too. Don't get me wrong. Their pancakes are good. They got a little sweet. They got a sweet taste to it. You know,
dude, the French toast, holy crap. That's it. I don't even know why I keep looking at the menu. I'll sit down and they're like, you want the menu? Yeah, sure. I'll take a look at it. I don't know why. Because I always order the same thing. Always like Farmer's Choice double meat. That's it.
Yo, pause on all that. You said double meat. Wow.
Oh, yeah, man.
Crazy.
Oh, yeah. Double-handed and everything.
Farmers. You know, farmers' hands, they're pretty rough.
There you go. Double meat it, man. If you're going to eat breakfast, got to have a double meat on it.
Oh, Lord have mercy. All right. So what I wanted to bring up today, Dave, was my wife mentioned to me, and I was like, yeah, I'm down, doing a little we had a little date night, and it wasn't so much like your typical date night. It was more like just a focused on us night.
Oh, so it was a night you got in trouble, and now you're being told about yourself.
No,
date night.
No.
Is that what that is?
No, this was this was a very intimate, intentional evening. We didn't watch a movie or nothing. We just we talked, and when we got into bed, because I said, well, let's go in bed and talk. She had these options, what I thought was really cute. She had like these tickets that she wrote, like, of different options that we could do. And one of them was that I thought was pretty cool was a trivia. And so I said, all right, well, let's do a trivia. So
wait, go back. So she wrote things like ideas.
Yeah.
She is so organized, man.
I know. She's always impressing me and surprising me.
That's awesome.
And and surprising is the key word. I'm gonna get into that pretty soon here. So there's 3 different trivia games, which I gotta be honest with you, she kind of pulled a quick one on me here, because she was like, we could do a trivia game, and I'm like, cool. And then the trivia game turned into 3 trivia, like separate, but they all ran in together. I was like, that was kind of slick. Okay, so one of them is called Mind Match. Another is called Couples Quiz. and another one is called Would You Rather. Okay, so mind match is finish the phrases below with what you think your partner will write, and points are given when both you and your partner's answers are the same. And so it's a word with a blank space at the end. And so you would have to write in the blank space the first word that comes to mind following the word that they provide. So, for example, the first one was true, space. The second one was red, space. And we both had the same copy. And on our own, without sharing, we go through and we fill in these blanks. Okay, that was cool. And it was funny because, like, we had like, I think it's 24, and I think we had like 7 right that we maxed. But
next date night, it's gonna be a couples therapy.
The thing is, like, I'm going through and I'm killing it, and I'm like, I know for sure she's gonna say this. But the funny thing is, dude, is I'm gonna get to the one that we did called Would You Rather. This one, bro. I'm still tripping over this because I think my wife really pulled another fast one on me. So Alexandra and I, we've been together. It'll be 10 years this fall that we've been together. Okay.
All right.
Anybody that knows me or knows Alexandra knows that if they know her enough, know that she loves to fly. When it comes to traveling, she'd rather fly than drive.
I hear that.
And I had never flown before until I met her. So now I'm pretty experienced now, a flyer, and I'm grateful because we've gone some pretty cool places. One of these questions is, dude, let me find it here because where is it at? No, that's not it. Where is it at? Here we go. Would you rather go on a road trip or book a flight? And I put, for me, I'd rather go on a road trip. I like to drive and you know, grind, like deal with, like, I love that. If you're prepared for it, you've got the space in the vehicle, you know it's going to be a long drive, you've got some stops planned out, but for the most part, you're in that vehicle a long time. She's like, yeah, I'd rather go on a road trip. I said, no, you'd rather go on a flight.
You're telling her.
She said, no, I would rather go on a road trip. I think that'd be great. I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, that is not you at all. Yo, I was so...
like, do you even know who you are right now?
I said, who are you? I was like, we could have gone on road trips this whole time. You've always told me that every time I drive to Delaware at the 2-hour mark, she starts getting antsy. I'm like, you can't even last in a car long enough without getting annoyed. I'm like, you know, I could sit in the car if I need to for a good 6 hours before getting out. And she's like, nah, I mean, as long as we have, you know, her thing is as long as we have pit stops that we can get out and visit the area. And I'm like, okay, but how long are these pit stops? I'm not staying overnight. She's like, no, you know, we get something to eat, maybe check out a gift shop, check out, you know, a couple hours, and then we get back in and we go. And I'm like, this whole fucking time, we could have been going on road trips. I've been dealing with turbulence on an airplane, squeezing my ass cheeks, thinking that this was it, clenching my hole, thinking this is it. But I could have been driving. We could have been. I would love to drive, like, if I had the money. And like. And I like your input on this. If money wasn't an option, and I could say, listen, first of all, if money wasn't an option, I'm not driving my own vehicle. I'll rent one. You know, I'll rent one that's got enough space for the family, but and I'm paying for the package. Like, if anything happens, it's not my problem because I'm not putting mileage on my car, but I'm renting a vehicle, putting gas in it. You know, we're gonna start driving at 8 o'clock in the evening, so the kids sleep all night, and we just drive. Let's go to Florida. Like, Florida's a long drive, but I mean, I don't mind it.
I drove to Florida
until you start getting to Georgia, and they fucking drive like fucking idiots over there. But still, I would love to have a road trip.
As soon as you get out on the street, I would love to get a Winnebago, a nice one, and then just drive. Because that way, if I get tired, somebody can switch up with me, and I just go back and chill.
Yeah.
But that's my dream road trip. Either that or just buy a Harley with a side tent and then just roll.
You know,
that's my bucket list.
Yeah, have you met Michael, my Romy, and Compai Irvin? Romy and Irvin,
so,
they're Ava's godparents.
Yeah.
They just got an RV, but it's a really nice one. And
hell yeah, man.
They sold their house. They're in the RV temporarily until they're figuring out where they're going to put. But it's like, if he wants to, all he has to do is get a truck. He's getting ready to get a truck. He just hooks that bad boy up to it. He
just roll, man.
The sides close in, and we just go. And I'm like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
just go
anywhere.
Go and then camp out. And now me camping, I'm not a camp guy. All right, I'm camping inside something with AC.
It's like a hotel, a motel.
I'll sit out there. If I'm sleeping in a tent, it's got to be like maybe, I don't know, October. You know, where it's cool.
Yeah. With a couch and a bed.
We're layers and layers on the floor, so it's soft. You know,
layers and layers. You got memory foam coming out of the ground.
One of those community tents, where like
you got the Harry
people
Potter
can walk in them.
Yeah. You want the Harry Potter tent. You walk. It looks like a tent from the outside. You walk in as a luxury hotel.
I just want to be able to chill comfortably, and I can't listen. Dave, I think you would like this. The camping and the roughing it out.
Dude, we went. Was it 5 years ago or something like? It was a while ago. I thought, you know what? The boys have always talked about going camping. The wife has always, thought about it, but never really wanted to. But she was a great sport, and so you know what? Let's do it. Because Ronnie's not don't like nature much.
Yeah, I'm right there with her.
But
I like looking at it.
She's like, yeah, exactly. She loves looking at it, but she's like, you know what? Let's do this. So I'm like, all right, bet. So the only time they had available, with decent weather was in July. So I'm like, never. At least one time we gotta feel how it is to camp in the heat of summer. So it was fucking hot, muggy, but we made it work. We have a family tent, a huge family tent. So we all were able to put all the air mattresses inside. We did the camping thing. And I'm like, this is pretty good, and Ronnie was proud of herself because she was like, I can handle this just for this one time.
Right. Yeah.
But she handled it, and the boys got to experience the camping life. And then I'm like, great, you get to experience how it is to sleep outside. Thunderstorm.
Oh,
fucking hard one rolled in.
Oh,
Everybody was like, so not only was it fucking hot as hell, all of a sudden you're. I'm like, oh shit. And the kids were like, what is that? I'm like, just try to go to bed really fast so you don't have to hear the trees. And then you just hear it just pounding the hell out of the campsite. And it was just rolling thunder, but it was a great experience and the good stories to tell. But I'm like, all right, next time we'll do the fall. We'll do like October camping type. So I haven't booked it yet, but I think the next time we do camping is going to be in October. Hopefully no storms rolling.
I think it's cool when like your significant other or yourself, like you do what you got to do when it's out of your, like Ronnie wasn't really savvy with or wanting to, but she did it.
Yeah, she held on to
it. I'm right there with her. I remember as a kid not feeling I'm a very if my area doesn't seem clean, I'm not comfortable. And as a kid, I remember being like that, like just being like super bougie, and I don't know where it came from, but I was just
my balls have a stench.
If I slept like I remember being at a babysitter, like I was probably like in kindergarten. I was at the babysitter, and I remember like being like, I don't know this bed that I'm asked to sleep in. I don't know this bed, and this is weird. Like, what's that?
I don't know this bed.
What's this feel?
Felix is sitting down with the bed having a conversation. Look, I don't know you. You don't know me. But we're going to try to make this work tonight.
Dude, when we went on to the cruise with Mom and Harry, do you know how terrified I was?
I was so amazed by it because you're not boats, dude. You don't do boats.
Dude. And I can if it's like we're going from here to there right now. Like, oh, okay. But like when it's beautiful and it's like being on a hotel that's all of a sudden floating out in the middle of the ocean. But when you look the next day outside and all you see is ocean around you, you're like, oh. And then the first night, Dave, we wake up to a thunderstorm in the middle of the ocean.
Come on.
I
love that.
No, I didn't. Dude,
I did.
It was winds, rains, cracks, thunder. You could hear the waves crack. I said, oh my God, this is it. We're done.
See, I think there's something wrong with me because I'd be the first one on top, like doing the whole black sails, like Pirates of the Caribbean. Lieutenant Dan sitting there screaming at the gods for taking my legs, but I still have my legs. I'd be that guy up like, sir, come inside. Hold on one more minute. Like, damn you, you can't take me, Poseidon.
No, I was not. I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Of all the things, this is what you throw at me the first fucking night.
The first night.
And it got to the point where even Alexandra was like, yeah, this is actually pretty bad. And I'm like, you're saying that? I'm basing my comfort and security off of you right now.
He's like, we're fucked. I just want you to know that.
And my mom's like, yeah, I gave you guys, because she gave us the room with the balcony. Her and Harry didn't have one, which I was grateful for. Because I don't know if I could have handled a room without a window or a fucking.
Well, no, I'm glad she gave you the room with the balcony and the big ass window so you can see your timely demise as the giant wave comes at you.
And we fell asleep with the sliding door open, because we wanted to hear the ocean. And all of a sudden you wake up and it's just like.
See, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I would have been the one during the storm watching like 2012 or 20, whatever that movie was.
Yeah, 2012. Yeah.
20, and then watching Deep Horizon with the sea monster. I'm like, I think this is the scene right here.
You're like crawled on top of the balcony banister like a gargoyle, just like just staring at the skies.
That is scary. Starts telling stories about the Kraken and we just cross into its area.
I mean, dude, and you're looking at the ocean and it's pitch black and you're like, what's out there? What is out? I can't see. This is weird.
Yeah. And, that's where you go poetic. Right there is the dark abyss of our own lives, our souls in the oceans. As the wave crashes time and time again, it takes us closer to our own death. That is what's out there. By the way, did you want a margarita or do you want to go to the buffet? Yeah, you know what? We got to set up a cruise. We got to go to a cruise together. That'd be great.
Yeah, we'll see. Because I told Mom, I said, I did that one, Mom. And then, I said,
you did that one.
I appreciate it. Thank you. But, and then, don't you know, love my mom. The next year, she's like, so I was thinking. I said, here we go.
There it is.
We go. And she brings it up, and I said, Mom, I gave you one. I don't know if I could do. And I'm not saying I won't. I just need to. First of all, if I go on a cruise again, dude, I can't go on a cruise with little kids. Like, I need to go on a cruise where little kids aren't allowed to be there because you're there drinking, having a good time, and then there's
Are you sure you want that?
Kids running around.
Are you sure you want to cruise with no kids that aren't allowed on the boat? Because all you're going to see is a bunch of 6-year-old titties hanging down.
I don't want to see kids
with the old nutsacks dragging on the deck. Like, there are no kids around here, so.
Well, that's a huge difference, Dave. I wouldn't like people the same age as me on there.
I mean, you'll get people the same age as you, but you also get to see their nutsacks and titties hanging out.
But you see that even with the kids on the. Well, I don't understand what your point is.
What the hell kind of cruise are you? Jesus.
What are you talking about?
Is that a Disney cruise?
You see people with their families, like moms and dads and their little children, and I'm sitting there like getting a buzz, and these kids are loud and they're running around and they're splashing each other, and I'm like, yo, I left my little kids at home to come enjoy myself, and you fuckers bring your kids. Yeah, no, I want to go to a kidless cruise where I can drink and not be on a schedule.
Oh yeah, that's
my thing too, dude.
That's the best part. Going on vacation and not be on a schedule.
Don't tell me I gotta be. Don't give me an itinerary.
Mm-hmm.
Nah.
Yeah, one day I would like to try to cruise. I know the first time we'll have to do it as a family. I wouldn't mind doing a Disney cruise. That'd be fun.
No, a family's fine. I think like Kirsten and Kaden went with, and of course, like I would like to bring the girls. I get nervous. You know, it's very, dude. It's like you you line up, you walk into this cruise. It's like a freaking. It's like you got to make sure you're holding on to each other, don't lose each other, because it's a bunch of people on this boat. But I would bring my girls, but then there'd be a time where like I would have to have a cruise, just adults. I just want to be able to be kid free and experience that without wondering where the kids. The kids all right?
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. Luckily, I'm almost out because Rafi, we still watch over, but I have the other boys to help too. So we're slowly getting out of that age where we're consistently, you know. I mean, we still do.
I started over, so I got.
But it's
I got two little
you're
girls,
right.
man.
You hit the reset button, man. You went right back, and you had two little girls.
Two little girls that are very, very, woo,
tough. I love it.
So anyway, I figured that'd be pretty cool to bring
D&D,
up.
Man, you got to get into D&D. They love it. We did D&D once at the table. They loved it.
Well, maybe I'll let you do that. You got Kaden into that. I don't know anything about it, dude.
Yeah, you do. You create all these stories.
Yeah, but that's not D&D to me.
Yes, it is. Stop.
That's a part that character creation. Yeah, but like the gameplay of it, I don't get into that.
How about next date night that you have? You take control and tell Alex you're gonna do LARPing.
What's that?
LARPing, live action role play.
Oh shit!
You walk in with a sword and a shield. What are we doing? How about the maiden? I would love to go LARPing.
I could dress up as the guy that's going to drive the tour bus for a long road trip.
Oh,
you said you wanted to go on a road trip, lady.
And then don't talk to her because they don't talk. Just sit there.
I'll sit there on a platform that bounces the whole time as I'm driving.
And then when she comes to you, just have a yellow line right behind him. Like, ma'am, stand behind the line. Don't ask me any questions right now. I have to focus on the road.
This isn't what I thought when I said role-playing Felix. Like, I'm sorry, but I am not Felix right now.
Yeah.
I don't know who Felix is.
I'm Ted. I'm Ted the driver.
Ted the driver.
Ma'am, if you have any questions, please sit back down and buckle up.
Yeah, but I think it's cool when you do what you can to keep in touch with one another, you know, whether it's trivia games or camping.
That's pretty cool.
Or a cruise, or, you know, you're teaching Ronnie self-defense. You got the pads.
Oh, yeah,
on,
you saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, like you're engaging with. I think that's cool. I think, you know, I'm grateful that my wife wanted to do that because I had a good time.
Yeah. I just love
a lot.
And that's where you got 10 years. I got what, 22 going on 22. Date nights change at 22.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it used to be movies, snacks, you know, lovey time. Now it's self-defense, throat chops, pressure points.
But things change. Things like that change in a relationship, and I feel like a lot of people, the stigma of things changing in a relationship is bad, which I feel like it should be embraced because
it should be embraced.
It should be embraced. Nothing's ever going to stay the same.
And that's the thing. That's the thing. Left. What happened? Who we get?
No. I think I just saw my wife leave. Just making sure. I like to make sure I know where she is.
Ah, gotcha. But yeah, I think that's where we're stuck as guys and as husbands. I think we get stuck like, well, I've been like this since, we got together. What's wrong with me now? Type idea. And I think that's the problem. I think we should be able to, because we grow everywhere else, right? I
Sure.
mean, for example, when we go to work, do you tell your boss, I've been like this one since you first hired me? If you do that, you're going to be stuck in a rut for in your job for 20, 30 years. So it's the same thing in a relationship. You grow in a job, you learn new things, you change who you are as you're working. So why not apply the same shit when you get home between you and your wife? You start learning from each other, and the more you learn, the more you grow and the more you change. Because if you're not learning anything, you're not changing.
And
so
I think
if you're the same person since you got together, that means you haven't learned anything from your wife.
And that also, you better calm down.
Oh shit!
Now my dog don't like, because now Alexandra's not home, so now he's like, where are you? Now he wants to come find me. I think it also applies to, dude. Like, it also applies to. There's a lot of like, we used to be maybe romantic in a certain way or invested emotionally in a certain way in the beginning. And hold on a minute, because now he's growling.
Oh, put the hammer down.
What's your problem, dude? You better lay down and be quiet. I swear.
Look at him.
Just because your mom's not here.
Yeah.
That's the first time I ever heard. Oh, that's what he wanted to do. Whenever we leave and the office door is open, he comes running up here and he'll stand and look out the window.
Oh, gotcha.
She left and he came up and he was like, "Oh, I can't look up." That's the first thing he did, is he came and looked out the window. But
that's great.
It's also important, I think, to understand, like, you want to try to keep the energy and the compassion and chemistry, but it's never going to be the same like it was in the beginning, because in the beginning it's just you two.
Yeah.
Whoever it is, you and your partner, significant other, wife, husband, whatever. And then if a family is introduced and roles change and careers change and houses become involved in property and all kinds of things, it's hard to keep the same vibe that you once had. But that doesn't mean that the vibe is there. It's just, it's changing. And I feel like it can be looked at as failure. Like, I used to be able to do this and now I don't anymore. Or they used to do this and now they don't. When really it's like, but we are in a different place in our lives, but we're still here with each other. And so you want to try to work to keep the romance, but it's not going to be like before, because you didn't have anything to worry about except you two before.
Yeah, and that's where that's exactly the point, because in the beginning you do the wooing and all that, and then when you lock in, a lot of guys, they'd be like, all right, I'm done. This is it for it, because now she's mine and she's gonna listen to me. Those real misogynistic men, they're like, she's gonna listen, this is mine now for the rest of my life, so I don't have to do anything. And then the wife gets bored. Like, it's not, you have to be able to just keep the fire going, because like I said, you do it everywhere else in life. You do it in your job, you change up your car, you see what I'm saying? Like, you like, even like I said, the car, you fix it, right? Even when it's breaking down, you go, you put in some time to keep it going. It's the same thing in a relationship. You got to put in the time. If something's off, you put in the time for it because you want to, right? When you don't want to anymore, then you got to look inside yourself and be like, all right, where do we go from here? But the passion, it's like, you got to keep going the best you can. And if you fall in the rut, one or the other will keep the flame going as best we can. And communication, my wife tells me all the time, like, she wants more conversation. She wants to spend more time, and I, like, we were just talking about mental health, like last week, I have to sit back and look, instead of being like, oh, what the hell do you want from me? You have to sit back and say, okay, she's crying out for help in a certain way. What is she asking for here? What can I do, as her husband, to give her what she needs. What is she asking for? Communication. Okay, what do I need to change in myself to communicate more? And that, just that question alone starts to process and building that passion again. Because once you figure it out, or try to figure it out, it develops a new connection you have with your wife that you'd never had before. And that's what I yearn for, is those new connections. It can never be boring. Even after 22 years, it can't be boring, because we find out more new things about each other. It's like, holy shit, like you and the trivia, because now you're like, all right, things changed. I don't know you anymore.
I think for me, it's difficult to be as focused on certain things like I was in the beginning, because my responsibility has changed, and so has hers. And I think a man and a woman, or anybody in a relationship, the fire that was in the very beginning, I think and believe it would behoove both people to understand that fire changes as the relationship goes on. That doesn't mean that the fire diminishes. The fire just changes. And sometimes we want to hold on to certain things of each other that we saw in the beginning. That's really impossible right now because of the other responsibilities that life has brought us to, which can be considered a blessing, because it's not a bad thing that we have. We have children now. It's not a bad thing that you guys have built a life, or these people have secured a dream of theirs, but it required a lot of sacrifice and dedication. But you have to continuously try to make the intentional attempt to see one another. But there's things that I love about my marriage that I never experienced before. But I'm learning as the 10 years now that I've been with my wife, that there's so much more that I'm learning about her. Like, of course, the road trips, that's a funny example, but it's also like I'm learning to appreciate the new nuances.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, I agree.
And I can't just be like, you used to be like this.
Yeah.
That's not fair.
Yeah, exactly.
Because at the time when you first meet your spouse, it's just you two.
Yeah.
It's just you two, and the world is now it's you two and everything else that's come with you. And so there's many different arms that get pulled in different directions. And I feel like that's an important thing for both men and women to understand about each other. That you can't be too, you don't expect too much of what used to be, because it's not fair to one or the other.
Exactly. What used to be is a stepping stone. What used to be is the foundation. You can't keep going back to the basement and patching the foundation up. That's what built your house to begin with. So, you can't always refer to, well, this is what you used to be. This is what you used to be. No, it's that's what you used to be. But what new things can you show me? I'm interested in this stuff. Because that is the same thought process you had when you guys first got together. Oh my God, what new things am I going to learn from here? What new experiences I'm going to have with said person? And you brought up a good point earlier when you said, when you first get together and as you grow in your relationship, new responsibilities and new priorities come into play, right? And a lot of times that draws the relationship apart, especially for us as guys. Like we have, just like, in any relationship, we have our own luggage to carry. And sometimes we hyper focus on these luggages that we do carry, and responsibilities and roles that we do play, that we forget that we have said partner with us to kind of help us carry that luggage. And not only that, we also sometimes, I don't want to say well, yeah, I do. We sometimes victimize ourselves. Let's just be harsh about it. When we come home or we're tired or exhausted, it's like, I've done this, is the quote that really wedges between two partners. What about me? I've done this, versus How was your day? What can I do to help? I know I'm exhausted. I know I'm tired, but I see that there's something wrong with you. What can I do to help you? And also being able to understand and appreciate when you receive that back, that question of, yeah, I also had a hard day, but what can I do to help you? Because now you're meeting in the middle and helping each other out, kind of handle the stress of the day, even though sometimes you don't even want to talk about it. And just the silent presence, when they sit next to you and they just know that you're having a rough day, and just sit there and just have a glass of wine or drink or eat a snack. Just the fact that they're sitting next to you kind of takes away the stress. And then you can have that conversation. You got to appreciate those times, but also remember that even though your priorities increase, your first priority, a lot of people may not agree with me. I don't care, but your main priority is your wife. I learned that
1,000%. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I learned that, like, Ronnie had to tell me that a few times. 22 years, and she still reminds me to this day, I am your first priority. And rather than me argue with that, like, no, I got other priorities, she makes a valid point, because without her, literally none of this would happen. Like, everything that I have to be thankful for would not have happened if, I don't recognize her as the main priority, the main focus of this, because the one quote she always tells me is like, look, you fell in love with me first before the kids. When you hear that on the outside, you're like, wow, that's pretty, that's pretty, cut and dry there. But it's true. You fell in love with your wife first before you fell in love with the kids, right? Mm-hmm. So continue that. Yes, you love your kids. That's not saying you can't love your kids, but work on your relationship first, because then that way your kids will benefit from that relationship. But if you focus so much on trying to get the kids set up, trying to get the kids prepared, trying to this and that, then you forget that your wife is there, or you forget that yourself is there too. Being in a relationship, you kind of forget who you are too. Then it starts to fall apart. But if you take the time, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or even an hour, 2 hours on a date or conversation, or to check in. How are you? You don't want to talk about it? All right, cool. I'm here if you need it, Or if you're just absolute, because I've been there too, where you're just absolutely stressed out. You don't want to hear it, but you muster up the strength to be like, you know what? Let me at least say I'm still here. If you're having it rough, I'm still here to talk. I probably don't have the patience for it, but I'm going to dig deep and try to find whatever fraction patience I can to at least speak to you for 5 minutes, so we can at least understand that we're both here. Because even that small connection is a good, healthy beginning, at least, in my opinion, to continue on this long-term relationship.
Yeah. I think that that also goes both ways too. I
feel
agreed.
Agreed.
Both sides need to recognize that in one another.
Yep.
But I completely agree. And something my wife shared with me when we first got together that she learned from somebody in her life is that eventually your children grow up and move out, and so then it'll just be you and your spouse. So you still need to maintain what's the genuine foundation between the both of you, because you're raising your children to be independent of you and your spouse.
Yep. Yeah.
And when they move on, you don't want to be left with somebody that you have lost touch with. I think that's why a lot of people end up getting divorced once the kids start getting old enough and moving away, because now they're forced to really deal with each other.
Yeah.
And there's nothing there left. So I totally agree. And I feel that something you mentioned there too, like this plays into what I was trying to say last week about the stoicism that men often deal with on their own accord, because they feel it's their responsibility, where it's like, I don't have the energy to sit here and listen to you, but I'm doing it anyway because I know you need it. And,
yes.
And somebody might say, well, that's horrible to say that women need it. And women, in my experience, it's imperative to give her or whoever, any man, their spouse, the time, even if you are emotionally checked out, because it's easier for me if you're happy than I can be happy.
You start to realize when you do it that way, that that you may not think you needed it, but then as you're speaking to your said partner, you start to realize, oh shit, maybe I did need this. Because we like you said, we're stoic in our emotion. We're straightforward and
there's times, dude, where I don't even feel like, I'll be honest. There's times where I do it just to benefit my wife.
Yeah,
not that I don't need it, but I'm looking. There's times where I am present for her.
Yeah,
but it's not like I don't walk away like I needed that. I walk away like I'm glad that she's feeling better now.
And
now I feel better.
There it is. And there it is right there. That's the positive feedback that helps you walk away with the accomplishment. And that's my point when I said you needed that. So you may walk away like, yeah, I don't really need this, but the fact that you're happy to show your wife, hey, I'm here, you gave yourself that confidence boost that whatever you're having stress, whatever issues you were going through that day, that positive win, because when you have depression, when you have especially chronic depression, the fact that you take a shower is that win enough to help you succeed through your day. That's it. Just a simple shower. A lot of people may not understand it, but those that do understand that that's a small win. So your small win, even though you're like, yeah, I didn't really need it, you actually did, because when you walked away from it, you walked away with that, all right, I was there for my wife. You know what I mean?
But that's something that applies, I guess, mainly to men then. I don't know if women could benefit from
both. That. It applies to both. Like we're
But do you think that what I'm saying is men are able to thrive off of minimum input?
Yes, we're built
women.
to.
I don't feel women can. Women need more. Women need context.
You'd be surprised.
Women need details. Women need.
Yeah, you're right. Women do need more details. They're more organized and more open minded than we are. I mean, let's just be honest.
That's what I'm saying. Like the small wins, I think, are different for men and women. Where I could be happy that my wife was able to feel happy, but I don't need too much after that. But is that a problem? I don't know. But that's how men are.
Well, that's what men are like that. Like we were built to work on the small wins, but we were also built to think that we're the only ones that go off the small wins, right? But you got to think about it this way. Like you just mentioned women, you need more details. They need more wins. They need more.
Not more wins, but their wins are more. There's bigger. More context to it. It's not. You need with us. You keep. I'm fine. That was enough. Where that women need more context. But that's not a bad thing. That's just
agreed. But at the same time, you got to think about it this way. Like we see it for that moment that they need more context to their win. But how many small wins did they go through every single day, just even dealing with us? The fact that we said hi in the morning, that's a small win for them. The fact that we looked at them, it's a small win for them. The fact that we noticed something off of them, that's a small win. They literally go off of small wins every single day, all day, even from their kids, from their jobs, from society.
Yeah, but those are small wins. But those are small wins that they're receiving from us.
Or
as opposed to us being present for them and them feeling better. We're getting small wins off of the stuff that we're doing.
Understood.
Where they're looking for small wins off of what we're giving them.
And what they're doing too. When they cook for you. Yeah. When they give you that meal when you didn't ask for it.
Yeah.
They give you that cup of coffee when they brewed that coffee when you weren't expecting it, So
I hear you. I'm just saying all those wins have context.
Oh, context.
Because I can sit there and go like, yeah, I appreciate it. And then it's like, but I did this and this and this. And I'll be like, okay, I appreciated that. Where in my mind, it's cook dinner. Where a woman's mind, it's cook dinner because of, and then the subcategories.
Or that way we think. Or that way we think. Maybe, they folded your clothes. You didn't even notice, or they did the bed because they wanted you to come back with clean bed sheets. You know, as opposed to like when those small wins, they're not saying, hey, I'm doing this because I want him to come back and appreciate me. They're doing this because, you know what? He's worked hard all day. He's gonna, just like you think it's a small win to ask, you know, tell her, hey, what do you need? Or how was your day? You know, because you're like, this is my small win. We have context too. You know, you may think we may not, you know, because we're made to believe, but I
don't really think we do at all, dude.
I think
we got context. Very, very simple creatures, dude.
We and that's what we're made to believe, but we're really not. We're
I don't even think I'm made to believe
creatures.
It. You don't think that there's times where I can hear something within 3 minutes and understand it and not have to keep digging into it, as opposed to perhaps a conversation that takes at any moment.
No, I mean, for that moment, when you hear that conversation and you don't have to dig into it, you don't dig into it at that moment. But through time, it starts playing in the back of our heads. We do it as guys. And then later on, while we're cutting grass, while we're doing something, it plays back.
That playing back isn't context, though. That's just repeating what you heard. Context. That's just repeating what you heard.
Dude, we come on.
I'm being honest. I'm being honest with you. I'm being honest with you.
Here's the thing. Look. And this is where I put the mark on. We are highly emotional creatures, and in fact, we may not think, but we're more emotional than women are. Let's just be honest.
I don't agree.
All right, fine. Here's it. You look at Batman.
Yeah.
Right at top of the already. See, you look at Batman at the top of a building with a thunderstorm in the back, and it's raining, and he's looking down for justice. What do you feel?
I don't feel a therapy session coming on.
Come on, man, you're hiding it.
I'm not. Wait. I think men do feel emotion. I just don't. I feel that men and women handle it in completely men handle their emotion in small amounts of context
until we see that one badass photo of either Batman brewing.
Sure, everybody has their soft spot, but I'm saying in general.
Yeah, or we're mowing along and we're out there grilling and the thunderstorm rolling and we're like, take me now. But if you're gonna take me, you're gonna have a goddamn fight.
I wasn't thinking that when I was on the cruise. I was hiding under my pillow.
You were hiding under your pillow. You were like, God, if you're gonna take me now, please make it quick. Emotional, see? Because if you weren't an emotional man, you'd be upstairs at the bar drinking your martini and be like, well, guess I'm going today.
No, I don't think that's different emotion, dude.
No, I'm telling you, dude, we're highly emotional creatures. We just try not to be. Like, come on.
I'm not saying we're not highly emotional. I just feel that compared to women, men aren't that emotional. There are some that take the caveat, but for the most part, which is why it's always an interesting dynamic of a conversation to have, where the woman typically in the relationship is the one that's asking the man, I need more. That's typical.
Or women are just more emotionally aware than men are. Like,
wait. Now you're moving the goalposts. So
no,
you
I'm
just
not
said
moving the goalposts. No,
I just said the same thing, but we called it context, and you said men and women are the same emotionally.
No, I said earlier, men are higher. We have higher emotions than women. We just don't want to admit
That's wild. You just
because
moved
women,
the goalpost.
You might think women, right? I didn't move the goalposts. Just say it. We're just on first down. Come on. So you want okay, fine. Women are more emotionally aware than men are because they were taught to be, right?
Sure, I agree with that.
Let's just be honest. We were taught growing up to shut our emotions down. Women were taught to live out their emotions, speak about their emotions. We're not. So since they're young, they're taught to deal with emotions, so they're more emotionally aware. That's my point. We are not. Yet we are not cold to emotion. We're actually we're more emotional. If we're equal, we're more emotional one way or the other. We have emotions. So you walk, for example, if we walk down a trail on hiking, you've been hiking, right?
once or twice.
Yeah, but when you seen Last of the Mohicans?
No.
You haven't seen that movie?
No.
Okay,
I'm not into those kind of movies.
Well, if any guy who's ever seen Last of the Mohicans and gone hiking, you know you're running through the woods like like with the Last of the Mohicans soundtrack playing in the background while your wife is like, "What is going on here?" But that song is playing in your head like, "I'm about to go out there and hunt some deer."
No, not all guys do that, Dave. I think I go hiking like I'm just trying to figure out where we're going. Where are we going here?
Until you see a beautiful tree like this tree right here has been here for 1,000 years. My minor existence here.
Oh shit.
Oh man. But yeah, we need to
But you were going somewhere. I thought you were going somewhere with this. Was that it? Was that your point about the hiking?
I lost my point.
Oh my Lord.
See? Emotionally aware. No, my point is we shove our emotions down so much that we don't think we're as emotional as women, but in some cases, sometimes it all comes out all at once.
I don't see how men are more emotional than women.
Angry. Driving.
Angry driving?
Angry driving. All our emotions come out driving. Come on. How many F-bombs do you drop just going from one corner to another corner when you're driving?
I mean, I've dropped F-bombs, but I do that at any time of day.
See, there you go. Emotional. Calm down.
No.
Oh, I love it.
You're an interesting character, the Dave.
That's what they tell me.
The Dave is reaching deep inside his soul.
I'm telling you.
All the extra emotion that he's been holding on to.
It's a Batman brewing. Every guy who's seen a Batman picture understands, and they sit there. I can relate to you, Batman. Some days I do seek justice. Some days I do seek revenge. Even though my parents are still alive, I always pretend that they are dead so I can find revenge.
Let me ask you a question. Because
that's why, here, hold on. That's why I just thought of this. Most men relate to Batman more than they do Superman. Thank you.
Who can relate to Superman, though?
Thank you. You just said it. Because Superman is all bright and chummy, right?
Yeah.
And has all this strength. But Batman is just a regular billionaire guy who just is Batman. Most men revolve in Batman because they're like,
but this has nothing to do with an emotional topic.
It does. It does. How is Ask ChatGPT? You ask Chat's going to be like.
Batman, if anything, is showing you exactly what most men do, where he holds everything in because he feels he needs to.
But he's fucking emotional. Batman is emotional.
Yeah, but he's not more emotional than Catwoman or Batgirl.
Batman
Harley
cried
Quinn.
more or suffered more than they did, and you can see their emotions, right? Catwoman is not emotional.
Oh,
she's not. I'm telling you, she's not emotional.
You don't know that, right?
She's a badass. And Catwoman, she's a badass. She's on her own comic strip. You don't see her crying around, but you see Batman brewing up there. The rain hides my tears. My tears of justice.
Let me ask you a question.
What's up?
Because I was listening to the other episode and you were getting ready to say something and then you got distracted and you never got back to it. But I feel your emotional tolerance is more than mine.
Yes.
Which is ironic because I'm, for the most part, the more reserved one out of the two.
Yes.
You and I. So I say that because right away, if somebody, let's say you're at work, and somebody comes up to you, temp from another temp agency, there for to help out, and you're busy working. He's there to help you, or she's there to help you, and while you're teaching them what they need to do, they just keep emotionally dumping on you their drama.
Oh, yeah.
Are you one to, how do you handle that situation?
Well, if I'm at work and that happens, and I don't think it's happened at the current job.
No, this is hypothetical.
No, it has happened. It's had happened. Believe it or not, it's had happened in my previous job. Supervisor, guy with PTSD, emotionally dump every day, in regards to what's going on. And I took it. I was able to actually handle that. Number one, because I wanted to make sure that he was okay. Because obviously he was suffering from a serious issue. But I was able to mentally understand that once I cross that fence, it's a new day. Every time this guy shows up, like, I'll try to remember what he talked about the day before, just so we can try to create a new dialogue or kind of gear the path somewhere else. Because if he keeps bringing up the same topic over and over, I'll use that topic to try to kind of, walk the path with him, but kind of veer off a little bit to try to figure out what else is going on. And then one of the other things I try to do is kind of give him the tools to listen to himself talking and see what he can do to work that problem out.
Is that your way of saying you're recording him unbeknownst to him?
Unbeknownst to him, like, here, hold on, check it.
Here are the tools. Listen to yourself.
Listen to yourself. You see how boring you are? No, no, you want to be able to redirect it back, because if you keep absorbing it, if you keep saying, "Oh my God, here we go again," like, you're what you're doing is you're absorbing it, versus when you're hearing it the first two times. If after the first two times you're still like, but not giving him back something to think about, then you're gonna get exhausted. You're taking that emotion on. But if somebody's saying, I have issues with maintaining my anger, and they give you the same story over and over, you ask them, okay, what have you done to fix this? That automatically changes the storyline.
Okay.
What?
So that's how Dave handles it. This is how Felix handles it. Felix goes to his supervisor and says, "Can you please send this guy somewhere else? I don't want to work with him anymore."
There you go.
Because when I'm at work, dude, I don't have time for that shit. Now, if we've worked together for a while, and so now I've built a rapport with somebody, then I'll be able to be patient and listen. And I got some people that I work with, but not any of a temp or somebody that I do not know, where I feel like you and I differ in that you become you want to help, where me, I want to get away.
I think because of the leadership role I am.
I think it's just who you are.
It could be.
But the irony is, on the flip side, you're able to go 0 to 100 in a situation like the fence.
Yeah.
Where I probably would have went over there and had a conversation.
Hey, we all have our ups and downs. We all have our abilities to handle situations. My situation is, I have anger issues. Yes. Once you piss me off, it's either my sarcasm goes, through the roof, or I get physically involved. Yeah. But before I get there, I try to review every path that I can think of.
See, that's not me. No.
But the
right
thing,
there, you just said right there.
The thing with the fence is
you take time to review. You review paths.
Yeah.
Where I right off the bat make a decision.
Yeah.
I'm investing no time in this person.
Yeah. But that's the thing. That's the difference is at work as a supervisor, I do take it seriously, because I've been that grunt worker. I've had asshole supervisors,
Yeah, but even before you were a supervisor, Dave, you were always like that. You listen, you offer advice, you're compassionate. And I'm always like, who the fuck is this guy? Because just yesterday, he's dodging a knife and he's carrying people out of a club covered in blood.
I think because and maybe a bunch of martial artists or people who can fight understand this, who are are capable of immense violence, are the nicest people, because they already know how much violence they can create
that's a good point.
They know that they don't want to get to that point, because once they get to that point, it's over. So and comment comment on this. Like if I'm correct or I'm just full of shit. Like people who are capable of immense violence are the nicest people because they already know once we cross that line, it's over. So let me try to do the best I can to not cross that line.
But you absorb a lot of people's energy right off the bat, which I can't do.
I absorb and redirect the Kung Fu Panda, man.
Dave is the man of many different hats. He's always surprising me. Here, I'm the calm and reserved one. He's the one out of control. But this entire conversation, Dave's like, you need to listen, and you need to be calm, and you need to be welcoming, and you need to hear, and you need to... Meanwhile, this guy's chucking 10-foot sections of a wooden fence back onto his neighbor's yard because the contractor just put it there.
While I'm giving advice as to not to do this to somebody else in the future.
If you want to talk about it more, I'll give you my number and we can talk about it. But until then, you fucking cocksucker. Like, oh, well, you could have just had a conversation. I hope you listen to this back, dude, because you're... Oh, man. Dave's going to put his personal cell phone number in the show notes of this episode.
Everybody want to talk about, if we got fence to need to be removed, just let me know.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap this up. We're going on an hour now.
All right.
Anything else you would like to, any gems you would like to drop? Any more gems?
All right. Any more gems? Just print out a picture of Batman.
Yes. Listen, we're all Batmen.
We're all Batmen.
Standing on top of a building in an overcast sky.
Yeah, overcast. Yeah, exactly. But we're not emotional.
Yeah, you've never seen the Batman episode where it's sunny and shiny. You ever see Batman like go to save somebody in the middle of a July day? Like
freaking sweating.
Batman doesn't even come out in the summer. It's not even my season.
It's like suits like dressed in sweat inside.
All right, man. Well, we're gonna let y'all go. That's the Dave. I'm Felix. Thank you so much for tuning in on the Bro Church, where we try our best to have honest conversations from a man's point of view, and every now and then we might surprise you with what we say. Y'all enjoy yourselves now. Bye-bye.